Hey y'all, it's Leslie Ann from La Teacher Life. This is a brand new series. As you can probably tell, it's not like a regular teacher vlog that I've been doing every week. This is going to be the first video in a brand new series that is a monthly recap of the picture books that we read for hashtag Classroom Book a Day, which if you don't know what it's about, I will leave a link to the website and you can read all about it, but basically it's where you just read a picture book each day to your class. I will also link below the video that I filmed last summer talking about how I did this in my class. That was filmed last year, and I'm talking about 5th grade, and I have since moved to 2nd grade. So these are the books that I have shared with my 2nd graders. But everything in that video still pretty much rings true. I still read a book at the beginning of each class. I teach 3 classes. I am departmentalized. I'm just responsible for teaching reading. So I teach 3 different classes. We read the same book each day. Most of the time we just read it for enjoyment. Sometimes I theme it around what we're learning about or like what skill we're covering that week, but for the most part it's just, read it for enjoyment. We do talk about the genre every day, like what type of story it is. I did that with 5th grade too, and we would record it in a genre notebook. We haven't got that far in 2nd grade yet, but we do discuss genre. We also talk about the theme, the lesson that we learn. This week, which I know I'm in September now, but we did this when our very first comprehension skill was character and setting, and since then we have talked about the characters in each story and the setting and how it affects the story. So I am going to share all the picture books that we read during the month of August. Of course, the goal is to read a picture book every single day. Most of the time we accomplish this goal, but there have been a few days where we just did not have time, and I hate to say that because you should be able to fit in reading every single day, but there's just a couple of days where it just was not workable. So I read 14 books during the month of August. Let me share what each one was and what it was good for, how the kids responded to it, and how I felt about it. So the very first one that we read on the very first day of school was The Pigeon Wants to Go to School. No, The Pigeon Has to Go to School. I'm a huge Mo Willems fan. I could not wait to read this one to my kids, and they absolutely loved it. I will say this. If your kids have not read any other pigeon books, they will not understand what makes the pigeon want to go to school, because when the pigeon sees the bus, that changes his mind because he, is fascinated with the bus in a previous book. My kids did not get that because we had not read that book yet. So I definitely would read that one first and then read this one, because that part just was confusing to them. They didn't understand why the bus. I mean, they understood the bus, but it would have made sense with a little bit more background knowledge about the pigeon. So it was wonderful, but do read that one first, I feel like. The first week of school, we also read My Teacher is a Monster. This one is great for character development. It's also great for teaching how the illustrations can play into the story, because as the little boy gets to know his teacher on more of a personal level, because he meets her in the park outside of school, she changes from the appearance of a monster to an actual human. That aspect of it was really interesting. The kids also just thought it was really funny too. We loved this one. Another back to school book that we read was We Don't Eat Our Classmates. I shared this one in 5th grade last year, and they loved it, and they loved it in 2nd grade as well. This one is so funny. It's also a great one for theme, because it has a wonderful message of treating others how you want to be treated, and it's just a really great one, an engaging one that also teaches a great lesson. So I highly recommend this one for theme. We've also read I Need a Hug. This one was good just for an enjoyment. I mean, I'm sure you can use it for a skill. We just read it to enjoy the story. It is about a porcupine who wants a hug, but all of his friends will not hug him until he finds a snake, and they are running away from the snake, so they sort of find each other. This one was really good because whenever we read it that day, we had a ton to do. I have about an hour and 15 minutes with each class, so some days I'm just really pressed for time. Every day I'm pressed for time, and I needed a shorter read aloud, so this one was good just to keep that in mind. If you're on a time crunch, pick up a short one, and this one fit the bill that day. We read Grumpy Pets during August. This is such a cute story, perfect for theme, perfect for characterization. This is about a little boy who his mother takes him and his sister to the pet store to get a new pet. And his sister is just this really bubbly, fun girl that everything comes easy to, it appears, and she finds a pet right off the bat. All these other kids are finding pets right off the bat, and everybody's just having this great time, and this little boy is just grumpy, and he is just not having any luck, and he's just not finding a good fit. And then he's taken in the back where all of the grumpy pets are, and he meets this dog that is grumpy just like he is. It is great for characterization, like I said, but it's also great for theme. We read Perfect, which was a huge hit in the classroom. I really enjoyed this one too. This one is closer to a wordless picture book. It definitely has words in there, but it's very driven by the storyline. So the kids really have to pay attention to it, and my kids had no problem paying attention to it. They were very engaged with this, but there is a lot of just like discussing the illustrations and what's happening in the story based solely on the illustrations, so do keep that one in mind. Another one that is like that is almost a wordless picture book is Dude, which we also read, but this one is perfect for expression, and we talked about how you can take one word and it can take on a whole new meaning based on how you say it. This one was really good for that. We practiced like how you change how you say something into a question by making your voice go higher at the end, or exclaiming it, or scrunching your eyes together and making it into a mad word. This one they really enjoyed, but I really enjoyed it for expression and fluency. I don't love it just for the story. I find the story confusing. I don't really understand what's happening in a lot of the parts, but for using it for expression, I highly recommend. Another one that we did for character was A Pet for Petunia. This would also be good for plot, although we have not got to that yet. But A Pet for Petunia is about a girl who is just obsessed with skunks, and she begs her parents for a skunk, and they will not give in because, of course, a skunk is an awful stinky animal. And then she wanders off into the woods after she runs away, and she finds a skunk, and it sprays her, and the kids and you would think that that's just going to change her mind, and she's going to see that skunks are not a great choice for a pet, but that just makes her want them more. We absolutely loved this one. I love it for like one of the very first read alouds that you do with your kids, because there's a part where she goes like off into this whole big rant, and it's this huge long rant, and you can see it gets like, it starts to get bigger, and then it goes into smaller, and it's just her. Like, if you want to pause this and read all of that, it's so fun to read with the kids and read like she would be getting mad. My 5th graders enjoyed that, and my 2nd graders just absolutely loved it. So I would definitely recommend using this, like if you start reading a book each day with your kids, which even though your school year has started, you can definitely do that, but I would start out with this one because it is just such a fun and engaging read aloud. We also read Can I Be Your Dog, which is the sweetest, saddest story there is, but with a really good ending. We absolutely loved this one. We read it just for enjoyment, but if you're teaching writing, it's perfect for letter writing. I can even see this being used in the upper grades for letter writing. It's really, really good. I could also see it being used for cause and effect too. So this one was a huge hit. We read another one from Ben Clanton. I don't think I've showed the first one. I'm saving it for last because it's my favorite. But we read It Came in the Mail. The kids were dying to read this one. This one was a student requested book because they saw it propped up on the bookshelf, and they've just been dying to read it. They really liked this one. It isn't my favorite. I read it in 5th grade and it wasn't a favorite, and I thought it would change around and be better in 2nd grade, and the kids liked it, but of everything we read, this one didn't jump out at me. It's about a little boy who loves to get mail, and so he writes to the mailbox and asks for mail, and the mailbox sends him a dragon, and then he asks for more, and he kind of gets bombarded. I could see it being used for theme, like teaching greed, but it's a great story, and the illustrations are really cute. It's just not my favorite. We read Dog Breath, The Horrible Trouble with Halitosis. We did this one for main idea. I could also see it being used for characterization, definitely for plot. I absolutely love, maybe even cause and effect too. I absolutely loved this story. It is so cute. It's by David Plackey, the guy who created Dogman, an absolute genius. He knows how to wrap a kid around a story and get a kid engaged, because the kids absolutely loved this one and I did too. 3 more to go. We read Unicorn Day and we absolutely loved it. This is so cute. It's also really fun to read because it rhymes. So it's really good for rhyme scheme and teaching rhyme, but it's really, really, really good for theme, because in this story, there's one, and you could also use it for characterization too. There's one unicorn who just cannot get it together like the other unicorns. So the other unicorns are jumping around and, you know, everything, they're sliding down rainbows, and this little unicorn, bless his heart, just cannot do it. So in every page it was fun to see like how that unicorn was struggling. We read this one twice because the first time we didn't notice that, but after it's revealed that that unicorn is actually a horse and he is just trying to look like a unicorn because he wants to be one, and then they have to decide whether to allow him into the unicorn club or kick him out because he's not like them. It's perfect for theme because of that, and that's the main like point of the story. So definitely for theme. But after we realized like why he was struggling or what he was, we went back and read it again and realized that on each page you see him and he's like struggling, whereas all of the other unicorns are, you know, doing it great. So great for characterization, compare and contrast, but perfect for theme. The last 2 we read were definitely my favorites. We read Robot in Love, which is the cutest story. I wanted to save it for Valentine's Day, but the kids kept seeing it and they kept begging to read it, so we just pulled it out, and then the kids were so sweet and said, oh, we'll read it again on Valentine's Day. So we absolutely loved this one. It's about a robot who just falls in love with something. You don't know until the very end what he has fallen in love with. But he just talks about how he's trying to work up enough nerve to talk to her, and he goes back the next day and she's not there, but she's moved into the store. You think all along that it is another robot and that, you know, she's, you know, walking around like he is, but it turns out that it is a toaster, and the toaster was on sale and then it gets moved into the store. This one is so good. It's so funny. I will say my 5th graders appreciated the humor in this one more so than my 2nd graders. The 2nd graders didn't really understand the humor and like the kind of like, I don't know, they just didn't get it as much as my 5th graders did, but they still really enjoyed it, which is the most important thing. And then we come to Rot, which is always my favorite of my picture book collection, and of all the picture books that I have read in my time. Rot is definitely probably in my top 3. It is just simply amazing, absolutely perfect for characterization and for teaching character traits. Also really good for theme, but absolutely phenomenal for character. Rot is about a little rotten potato, but bless his heart, he has the most self-confidence of anybody out there. He enters the cutest in the world contest, and there are these other characters that are just cute and fuzzy and beautiful, and they just, you know, try and convince Rot to not enter because they know what it's going to be like for him. But then it turns out that the judges are rotten vegetables just like him, and so they vote him the cutest in the world. It is the sweetest story. I absolutely loved it. The kids loved it. It is just one that you have to own in your classroom. It's just so good, so cute, so good. I love this one. Okay, so those are the 14 books that we read during the month of August. I apologize for the background. I tried to like spice it up with some children's books, but I'm in my library and most of it's just like adult books that I've been reading. But the sun's going down and my office is like currently dark because it's on the other side of the house. So I apologize. I'll get a better background for September's read alouds. But we read so many good books and I could not wait to share them with you. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions on things to add in the next monthly roundup, please leave them down below, like a rating. I thought about doing that. I don't know, just if you have any suggestions on what else info wise you would like to see, please leave it down below. The video a thumbs up and subscribe for more teaching related videos. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.